I'm a shy guy getting to live out his dreams for the first 2 weeks of March, and now we're going to talk about the four-man bobsled competition, the most controversial, exciting, and historic event. This event was supposed to field 25 bobsleds, but the Austrian Jacob Mentelbauer had to pull his sled out of the race because his men had gotten sick. Thailand, on the other hand, had quite the historic run in bobsled in general during the World Championship. Their women debuted both in the women's monobob and women's two-man bob, and their men debuted both in the two-man bob and four-man bob. Their pilot, Kitman Palaki, this guy right over here, led them both in four-man and two-man bob. I believe this is Sitpon Dom Pietri. He competed both in the four-man and two-man bob. And this gentleman right over here, he is the oldest out of the four, and he is also a pilot in the Thailand Airways. Australia also fielded a four-man bobsled team. Pilot Rice Peters and brakeman Benjamin Forrest competed in the two-man bobsled team. The reason why their bobsled is orange is because they used the 2010 Dutch sled. Canada's third four-man bobsled pilot Jay Dearborn made his debut as well. In the first heat, there was only one crash, and that was with the Australian sled. At the end of the first heat, Germany had both first, second, and fourth place, while Brad Hull of Great Britain held third. Our guys Del Duca and Horn took fifth and sixth place, and Jeffrey in 21st place. Etan Bentalate participated in the competition and landed in 15th place with his three guys. Rice Peters of Australia would start the second heat and crashed near the start. Unable to finish, their competition had come to an end. For his second run, Jung Ging-suk of South Korea had his men push him down the bobsled track. The Czech Republic had a four-man bobsled push bar malfunction, but they were able to fix it once they hit the ice hard towards the end of the race. Then it happened. When Johannes Lochner went down the track for his second heat, he somehow kicked a hole out of the hood of his bobsled. And then, a minute and 23 seconds in, his runners hit concrete, which made him lose so much time to the point where he landed in sixth place. There was a pause to assess the situation, and then once they figured they had everything cleared, they let Francesco Friedrich go down the track, and he went down fine. And we all thought that everything was copacetic and the heat was over. But we were wrong. The German Federation was able to protest and get Lochner a second run. Now, mind you, the schedule had already changed so that we would race Friday and Saturday because in the morning everything was pretty chilly, and then close to the afternoon the temperature had risen to like 48 to 50 degrees. Once he got a new hood and refitted with better runners, the jury decided, hey, actually it's not good that you go down a second time. The temperatures are rising and the track isn't getting any better, so your run probably won't do you a solid. And when his federation applied for his second run, they had wiped out his previous second heat time. So the IBSF not only decided for him not to do his second run, but they decided to cancel the entire heat altogether, thus wiping everybody's second heat time. This decision angered most of the bobsled skeleton community. Now, for a while, you haven't been able to comment on their YouTube channel, but that never stopped the community from airing their frustration over the decisions on Instagram and Facebook. They posted stories and filled the IBSF post with comments telling them how much of a big mistake they had made. Outside of meta accounts, the only people I saw on TikTok talking about it was TPSN, Trailer Sports News, and one of my favorite Latvian bobsled content creators. The backlash was so strong that IBSF hid a link in one of their stories as they were trying to cover the two women bobsled competition. Here is the statement. Pause to read. The reason why I'm wearing Colts gear while talking about bobsled because to some extent the German Federation is very much like the Patriots when it comes to bobsled and skeleton. They have 4 different bobsled tracks: Oberhof, Winterberg, Altenburg, and Königssee, which thank you to the Königssee track team who came to Lake Placid to help us keep our track ready for the competitions. You don't only need four-man bobsled, but you also need a track crew in order for there to be a competition. So with these four bobsled tracks, they are able to field younger athletes much quicker and more effectively than all the other countries that compete in bobsled. This is Koenigsegg, I believe Altenburg, and Winterberg. When it comes to the season, both the European Cup and the World Cup have a lot of stops in Germany. So the Germans are able to have multiple sweeps and shutouts, first, second, third, and fourth place in a year. Germany has also held the most world championships at number 17. Three of those were alternate options when they were supposed to be in other locations. At one time, they were supposed to be in Italy. In 2017, it was supposed to be in Sochi, but due to people's feelings about Russian sports, they moved it to Koenigsegg. I remember how contentious the World Cup was around then because I was supposed to go with my dad to the Mount Van Hovenberg Sliding Center to move scabbards. And my dad said, hey, yeah, just don't talk about it out here, please. And there was the 2021 World Championship that was supposed to be in Lake Placid, New York. But a certain bug was going around in New York, and New York State was shut down, so they moved it to Germany. So, with the most bobsled tracks, the most world championships, the most wins any other country has ever had, not to mention the BMW bobsleds that they have, it might be hard to defend against favoritism, rules for them, not for me, Germany runs the bobsled ring allegations when you pull stuff off like this. Again, this isn't against the German athletes, they did amazing. It's against the federation that made a decision like this that hurt everybody. Before the IBSF could mute some of their comment sections, some of the athletes mentioned zigzags, which is a popular pub for athletes in Lake Placid. So before I end this video, because it's getting too long and the second half will cover the other half, here is what the results would have been if they didn't decide to cancel the second heat.